Miklos Rosa, who'd written the music for several Billy Wilder films, including... You'll have to edit that bit, sorry about that. Anyway, oh, you want me to stand there? Sorry, the director's moving me over. So sometime in the 1950s, Miklos Rosa, who'd written the music for several Billy Wilder films, wrote a violin concerto for concert performance, and it was famously done by a violinist called Heifetz, who was the famous violinist of his day. And Billy Wilder absolutely loved this piece of music, and he said, you know, one day I'm going to make a film out of your violin concerto, and it's got different sort of elements in it. It's got like almost an adventurous kind of theme to it. It's got something that sounds like monster music, and it's got this very romantic lyrical main theme. And it's got to be about Sherlock Holmes because he played the violin. So that was how the film started. So he had the thought of doing it probably around the time he was doing Some Like It Hot or whatever. So he came back to it much later on. It was the late 60s, and he got the Mirisch company that produced this, produced all his kind of classic movies from Some Like It Hot onwards. And he essentially came up with the idea of doing a massive film. It was actually going to be, it was the time of roadshow presentations in 70mm and doing, you know, films with intermissions and so on. So he came up with the idea for a 3-part film. So the film originally started with them, like a James Bond movie, Sherlock Holmes and Watson investigating another case. So you came straight in on the characters and you saw how they were and what they did. And then you went into another story, and then you came to the story that's the body of the film. But by '69, Wilder's kind of star had waned, and by the time the film came out, it got sort of lukewarm responses from the critics, but more importantly, it didn't play for audiences. So the film was immediately withdrawn and cut, and this is the only version that exists of it. And on this DVD, there's bits of found footage. They found one sequence without any sound to it, and another sequence of sound with no picture to it. But nobody ever kept the elements. So it's a little bit of a shame that it doesn't exist in that form. But anyway, needless to say, over the years, people visited the film, and people saw it again, and I think generally speaking, most people consider this as his sort of late flowering masterpiece. And it has all the toughness and cynicism of Billy Wilder, but it's very, very lyrical and romantic underneath it all, a sort of very sad sort of romanticism to it. And the only other thing I would say about it is that what he intended to do was to kind of set the Sherlock Holmes myth up and then sort of destroy it, self-destruct it in a way. So you'll see that there's a lot in the film which is almost sort of postmodern in the way that it approaches the subject matter. And that's it.